Hi, Jim here from Precision Airguns and Supplies, also known as the Airgun Guy. And instead of talking about new product today, which is always great, we thought we'd do something a little different and talk about a little bit of history. And some of it will include my personal history. So we're going to move around over here to a little historic wall we've got set up in the shop. And if you're not interested in the history of air guns or any personal history, you still might want to stick around, because we're going to have at the end ID the Airgun contest, in which you can show what kind of airgun guy or airgun gal you are. If you can identify the airgun, you can receive $20 off your next purchase, be it online or in the shop. So basically, as a youngster, I started out probably 50 years ago with airguns. So that's one reason I'm kind of qualified to be the airgun guy. We've got some massive history here. And the second thing would be that when people are sent to our shop, whether they're referred to from a firearms store, archery store, or just another customer, they always come in and say, hey, I've been told to come here and see the airgun guy. So it's just a title that kind of stuck, and we stayed with it. So for me personally, I started out with a Daisy BB gun. I believe that's a model 107, from the late 50s. That was my dad's gun. A lot of BBs went out the barrel of that gun. It actually still pumps and shoots, if you can believe that. Not with any authority, but it will still pump and function. From there I went to a Crossman 760, wooden stock variant, probably about 12, 13 years old, junior high, 7th grade. And at that time the fellow actually brought it to school wrapped in a brown paper bag. I gave him the 10 or 12 bucks. You wouldn't want to try that today, bringing any type of gun to school. But that was a cannon compared to the Model 107. It would, I think, go through pretty much both sides of a steel tin can. Just a real powerful gun to have in a youngster's arsenal. And from there, I graduated to the Sheridan Blue Streak, rocker safety. That's a 1974 gun. That gun is, 44 years old. It actually still pumps and shoots just fine, with the exception that after getting to better guns, like the HW77s, the Firepower 124, I determined that this pump up wasn't going to be used much anymore, so I changed it to an air shotgun. One day on a whim, just kind of put a smoothbore insert in it, 17 caliber, and I use it as an air shotgun. But it still pumps and shoots. And I've told a lot of people, I still stand by it, if a company ever was to bring out that gun similar to that in the same quality, condition, same trigger, same accuracy, they'd probably sell a boatload of them. But let's see if that ever happens. So I think we're going to take a break now and transition into our first ID That Airgun segment. So what I'm going to do is show you a picture of an air gun, and pretty much the first one to either call in, get it noted on the recorder, date and time, or email in that can ID the air gun will get $20 off his next purchase. And we'll follow up then in our next video with who got it right, what they knew about it, what I can tell you about it, and just some points of interest. Thank you so much. Okay, now let's move on to our series of ID the Air Gun. So before I show you the actual picture of the air gun, this isn't a gun I own anymore, I'm going to give you a few clues and some backstory on it. It was a quality gun, it was a very accurate gun, it had a few other significant firsts that would maybe be too much to mention. I can show you a group I shot with it. Keep in mind, back in the day, getting ready for field target, we didn't even know what a bench rest was, so all your shooting was off your knee. And this was the gun, again, getting it zeroed for one of the bigger competitions. That's 5 shots at 50 yards. Let me grab a dime here somewhere. You can see it's pretty respectable group, okay? So that's what that gun was capable of at 50 yards for 5 shots from a field target position, okay? The ammo of the day, the Beasley Mags, was what we were shooting. That was a hot ticket. It was kind of a relabeled Barracuda. I'm sure it was made by H&N. But it looked a little bit different, and it had some fins or whatever you want to call on the skirt. But it was just a hot ticket. If you went to an event and there was 100 shooters there, and 98 of them were shooting that pellet, and you literally could take them right out of the tin, put them in a gun like that, and they would shoot groups like that. They were that good of a pellet. Well, like everything, a year or so later, they weren't that good of a pellet. So a fellow by the name of John Giles came up with this pellet roller. John Giles was a firearms gunsmith, pretty clever guy. And he also shot one of these guns and was frustrated with the lack of accuracy. So he developed this. You've got the profile of the pellet here, you've got the profile here. I'm sure he made that as a piece of bar stock and would cut it. And what you could do is you could shim off of these pins, and you could vary the tightness or the contour that you wanted to roll the pellet in. So you'd take the pellet, I would lube them, sometimes I'd double roll them. I'd sit in front of the TV and do a tin of pellets. You'd put it in like this, and you'd roll it through like that. And you can see it does a variety of things. It reshapes the pellet. it resizes the pellet, but most importantly, it makes it concentric. By rolling it straight up like that, the pellet is now straight, and the lead you can see is actually re-swaged, you know, and it forms a tip on there, so you can see how much lead that was actually restructured, and you can also see the edge of the skirt, or maybe not as super sharp and crisp. So it changed just not even a mediocre pellet into an awesome shooter that would shoot groups like that, okay? So that was the ammo we shot. That's what we had to do at some point with that gun and other guns. And now we'll show you a picture of the gun. Okay. And these papers are just to cover up some of the dating and the other information, so it doesn't make it too easy for you. Let me lay it down. Maybe you'll get a better shot there. And what you want to do is be the first person on the bottom of the comments there to answer or address what you think this gun is. And the first person that can answer properly on the bottom of the YouTube comments section will be entitled to the $20 off on the next purchase. And that can be on a walk-in in the shop, or if you do a mail order, we'll reach out to you and mention you're the winner, and just again mention to us that you were the winner when you call, and get you $20 off your next purchase. So good luck, Airgun guys and gals, and keep us posted. Thanks.